Hi guys, today I'll show you a flawless everyday college makeup that survives Philippine weather. So without further ado, let's get started. So first, I'll be using a primer from Shawill makeup. It hydrates the skin, helps our makeup last longer. Next, we'll be using the Get Ready With Me Radiance Tint in the shade Medium Peach to color correct and even out my skin tone. Next, I'll be using a setting spray from Unclots to hydrate the skin and prep it for the next steps. For my foundation, I'll be using the SKINTIFIC Velvet Matte Cushion in the shade Almond for a smooth and matte base. Next, I'll be using the Blythe Perfect Brow Trio to set and shape my eyebrows. Next, I'll be using the Bia Eyebrow Pen to fill in and define my brows. Next, I'll be using the One and Done Brontour stick from Vice Cosmetic in the shade Achieve to add some warmth and dimension to my face. Next, I'll be using the Do It All Liquid Blush from Vice Cosmetics in the shade Always Charming, so I'll apply a small dot on each side of my face for a natural flush. Next, I'll be using the Squadlet Mini Palette in the shade Sneaky from Squad Cosmetics for a subtle eye look. For my eyeliner, I'll be using the Pink Flash Waterproof Easy Eyeliner in the shade B01 for a clean and defined look. For my mascara, I'll be using the Maybelline Sky High Mascara to lengthen and lift my lashes. For my concealer, I'll be using the Get Ready With Me Radiance Tint in the shade Sienna to brighten and cover any dark areas. For baking my under eyes, I'll be using the Nichido Final Powder in Pink Glow to set and brighten the area. For my nose contour, I'll be using a Judy Doll palette that works well for warm tones to softly define my nose. So I'll be using this brush to gently remove any excess powder. For my powder blush, I'll be using the True True Beauty Heart Blush Duo in the shade Pretty Betty to add a soft pop of color. So it didn't feel enough for me, so I'll be adding a little more for that extra flush. Next, I'll be using the Face Secret Lip Liner in the shade Candy as a base to outline and fill my lips. I'll be using the Vice Cosmetics Perfect Kiss Lip Liner in the shade Chef Kiss to softly overline my lips for a fuller look. Next, I'll be using the Ready Set Glow Lipstick in the shade Chocolate Bar for a smooth satin cream finish. I'll be using the O2O Bullet Lipstick in the shade M16 on the inner part of my lips to create a soft gradient look. Next, I'll be using the Judy Doll palette again to highlight the points of my face. Lastly, I'll be using the Lucky Beauty Dreamy Lip Gloss in the shade Zing for a glossy and finishing touch.